And hey, everyone, it's Evan Kirstel with a fascinating company and guest today, Michelle of UiPath. Michelle, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us. And before we jump into who you are and what you do, maybe you could introduce yourself. And for those two people who are watching who don't know who UiPath is, and I can't believe anyone wouldn't know at this point, given the phenomenon that UiPath is in the tech world, maybe introduce the company and yourself.
Excellent. So I work for a company called UiPath. What we basically do is we automate really boring, mundane processes so that humans can leverage their creative capacity and go do something that's worth their time. I think everybody's kind of been in that 3 p.m. moment, especially when you're an intern working in Excel and just wishing like, oh my God, can this please end? It can end, and we make software that does that for you. So that's what
Awesome.
UiPath does. I work on the product team for analytics, and my job is to basically help customers really measure the impact that automation has had on the business in a lot of ways. We'll talk about that in a bit, but basically, yeah, that's right. That's a product team and analytics, so that's what I do.
Fantastic. And we're going to dive into everything that UiPath does there in some detail, maybe geek out a bit. But before that, I'm fascinated by your background. You're someone who started off in one direction and went in a completely different direction, which always fascinates me. You started off, I think, in nutrition and pre-med at Cornell, and
Yep.
then took a complete a 90-degree turn into software and tech. So tell us, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's funny. This is a very Michelle thing. But originally, I was actually bio pre med, and I was very bad at chemistry, like very bad at chemistry. And
Join the
somebody,
club.
yeah, I had a tutor for chemistry in high school, and he helped me so much that I ended up getting a perfect score on the Chem SAT two and a 5 on the AP. And at Cornell, you could actually leverage that AP credit and take honors chemistry. But apparently, medical schools weren't super happy about one semester of chemistry and they wanted two. And I said, I worked so hard for this AP. I refuse to take 2 semesters of Gen Chem. I'm taking honors and I'm not going to medical school. That's it. So, very, very radical decision. But that ended up leaving me free to take a nutrition course. And I fell in love with it. So, I started majoring in nutrition. And I got this really excellent internship at Weight Watchers in New York City my junior summer. It was like the internship to get, for nutrition. Very exciting. And I just worked in Excel all day. It was a very like, I was really let down, I guess, by what dietitians did in the corporate world. I had never really been exposed to it before. And I just figured out it wasn't for me. And I got really lucky because the senior director of engineering there was pretty close with the women on the dietetics team, kind of took me under his wing. And one day he saw I was really frustrated with their back end database and he sat me down. And after I complained for a really long time about how they should fix it, he was like, yeah, you should be studying computer science. So that's what I did.
Logical, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you
I
you dove into computer science and you found your calling, evidently, because from there you joined another startup, and then I guess 4 or 5 years ago, UiPath.
Yes, foreign change. November of gosh, it was a while ago. Yeah, November 4 years ago.
Fantastic. And what did you start doing at UiPath? I assume you didn't jump in and lead product analytics.
No, I actually got recruited for an RPA developer role, and what
Cool.
that means is it's a very much like a consulting type role back then, where we did demos for customers, we helped them implement the software, and it was really customer facing. Which after just coding for so many hours a day, I was really looking for a little bit more customer contact and people contact. So I was pretty tired of talking to a computer all day long, and I really liked the role, so I started doing that. And through that, I got really interested in analytics because I realized that nobody knew how it worked, but it seemed like it was really important and customers were starting to ask about it. And no matter how many people I asked, I would just get this really generic answer of like, yeah, like it's good, it's great. But like, what does it do? Why is it important? And I tackled that, and that's how I ended up on the product team.
Fascinating. Well, usually when my customers ask me for analytics, I run screaming and crying the other way around. But I think you and your team at UiPath are trying to make analytics easier. Isn't that is that a good way to describe it? And how so exactly?
Yeah, I think you're right, is that people get really like scared when they hear about analytics, and especially when they start with like BI software for the first time. I think that's a kind of like multifaceted problem. The first step is like if you don't know what you're supposed to report on and you see this list of like really long fields and you're supposed to build this dashboard, you don't even know what to stick in there. So that's like really overwhelming. I definitely like also felt the same way when I first landed in a couple BI tools. So been there, done that. And one of the things I really focused on with my product was helping people kind of get to that next level really quickly. And the easiest way to do that is by providing them with some templates. So when I think about what customers are interested in reporting on, UiPath is really cool because we can automate like pretty much any use case in any industry. But at the end of the day, there's still like these core kind of metrics that everybody needs. Things like, I don't know, how many times did my robots run this week? Or like,
Mhm.
what was the most common error? How many hours a day are my robots busy? And by taking the brunt of the work from the customers and helping them build those general metrics into templates, they can just take copies of those templates and customize. So that adoption barrier of like, I don't even know what to put together. Now they can actually see what fields we used. They can just make copies. They can switch things out, and it's a lot less scary because there's at least something already there for them.
Yeah, well, I think UiPath in general makes software a lot less scary. I've even used it to automate something, and I'm my last programming was in Fortran and
What did
Pascal.
you
So
automate?
just some marketing stuff. Yeah, some
Nice.
email marketing stuff. So it's really cool for non-developer types as well. So you're working with like amazing companies all over the world. Do you get to see your analytics tools in action much?
I do. Honestly, it's one of the most rewarding feelings when somebody says like, I couldn't do something before I got this product, and now like I'm able to demonstrate X, Y, Z. For example, one of our customers, this like brilliant woman, she was an AVP of I can't remember exactly what department, some department, and she was spending a week every single month doing manual reporting in Excel, and that's a lot for an
That
AVP.
that is that is crazy, but that's kind of
Yeah,
symptomatic of like our
right.
entire world. Yeah.
Right. And after they started using Insights, my product, 5 minutes, she's done. And giving
Wow.
that kind of time back. And not only that, it's hard to try to build those kinds of reports yourself when you don't know the data model in the back end, when you have no idea where these fields are coming from. When we expose all of that and we put them in like really easily consumable formats, it means that you don't have to be a particularly technical person to be able to really prove that value very quickly. So just examples like that where, she saved a week every single month, is just really rewarding for me.
Yeah. No, what an amazing ROI. And
Yeah.
you're part of a very global team. Obviously, UiPath is a global company and here in the US and in Romania. What's it like working with like everyone's distributed and remote working from everywhere?
It's early meetings sometimes and it's late meetings other times. But I think one of the things that I've really started to appreciate about the Romanian culture is how like forward they are. I had never worked anywhere or been exposed to a place where people were just like very blunt about their feedback, and it was so refreshing for me. Also, coming from an Eastern European background, I'm very used to it, but I had never seen it in the workplace. And so I think that really drives our culture. It feels very like open and honest, and I think it really kind of embodies who we are as a company. Very transparent in general, from the way we talk to each other and what we sell to our customers. So it's been really amazing for me.
Yeah, I think most American companies would we hurt each other feelings if we talk too bluntly to each other. But yeah, I totally get it, having worked for a couple of Israeli companies among others. So no, that's fun.
Yeah.
And what's next? I mean, you've done a lot with UiPath Insights. Is it more features, functionality, more integrations? Like what you must have a pretty big roadmap.
Yes. I think there's kind of a few areas of analytics that we need to tackle. So the first we've already tackled with insights, that's like historical analytics.
Mhm.
So that's like enabling people to look at trends over the past, kind of like a backwards view of what happened. And
Mhm.
that's great. And you can take action on that, but it's not proactive action. It's more of like posthumous reactive action. And there's a whole other kind of area of analytics that's really important, and it's real-time monitoring. It's being able to kind of catch things as they're happening so that you can go react to it in real time. And that's what my team is currently working on building. So I'm really excited. Building real-time analytics and data streaming is like one of the most interesting areas for me. And I think it's one of the places where we get to bring in so much data that we wouldn't have access to. So for example, there's like a million reasons something could go wrong in a robot. One of it could just be like, couldn't find the button you were asking me to find, right? Um, or I didn't know the application is down for maintenance, or I lost internet. Very, very like on the machine issues. But robots are also running on machines. And if their machine runs out of memory, it can just be hanging forever and you would never know why. So bringing in those kinds of metrics about the actual machines the robots are running on really helps us solve problems that no one could solve before because they just didn't have the information. And eventually, we can take all of that information that we learn and solve the problems for people ourselves without any intervention from a user. So you might have heard of self-healing capabilities.
Mhm.
It's along those lines of like, let's learn exactly why things can go wrong. And maybe if we see that your machine is out of memory, we just restart it so you don't have to. So this kind of machine learning and real-time capabilities are what's like on the roadmap for us and in the, I guess, in the most exciting areas that I'm working. So
Oh, very cool. Well, it wouldn't be a tech discussion if we didn't add AI in somewhere. So, God,
of
we'll
course,
we'll check machine learning on the bingo card. So that's perfect.
the
Um,
buzzword.
and now you work from home, I think, in New York City, or do
Yeah.
you have an office in the city as well?
We do have an office in the city. Most of my team is in Seattle. Another product manager on my team is in New York, so I see him sometimes. But honestly, working from home is just like a game changer for me. I love it.
Yes, many of us have adapted quite easily, and we'll never go back.
Yep.
And what about travel? Are you traveling much at all, or you're just happy delivering from home these days?
So I think with COVID, the travel thing kind of went down the drain. Obviously, we couldn't really go anywhere. I think things are picking back up now. There's a conference in Las Vegas in September, sorry, our usual Forward conference. So I'm
Mm,
looking forward to that. A lot of product is less traveling and more of just like execution. So unlike, maybe like sales or people who work with customers directly trying to like interact with them more often, there's not as many in-person meetings when you're on the product team. I think as you kind of get higher up though, for example, our chief product officer is always traveling and always talking in some new conference or the other, but I'm not important enough for that yet.
okay. Me neither. I don't know. I just sit at my couch here. But
Yeah,
really nice to connect and nice to chat. And you
yeah.
started a YouTube channel, so I'll add that to our tweet here. And you have a couple of posts. So how regularly are you going to stream on YouTube?
So I honestly, I skipped a week. I was on vacation. I hope everyone
Oh,
forgives
how
me.
dare you? That's yeah.
Well, now I have a little bit of color, so maybe it'll be better to watch me. I won't blend in with the background, but I am trying to post every single week. I have a video this week coming. It's part one of a day in the life of a product manager. You'd be surprised how many people don't know what product managers do, myself included, before I started working in product management. So um, I am going to do a two-part series on that, and I'm just really looking for feedback and hearing about what people are interested in knowing. Because working at UiPath, I feel like I've gained 10 years of experience in 4 years' time. So it's been a wild experience in the best way, and I just want to share that knowledge.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your
Yeah,
insights here. And everyone follow Michelle Urowski on Twitter, and that'll lead to YouTube and all the other socials. And yeah, thanks for chatting today. Good to chat. And as
yeah.
always, big fan of what you guys are doing at UiPath.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah.